Indeed, a fresh of breath air for shoppers who live along Mombasa Road. Well, let's shift gears now and talk matters to do with insurance. And joining me right now in studio, you have Caroline Munene, who is the Chief Executive Officer at AAR. And many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's just start off by you setting the scene for us. 2017 was a difficult year for insurance companies, and of course AAR is very big on medical insurance. Just paint for us a picture of how the year was and what are your expectations in 2018?
Okay, I think thank you so much for having me here. And as you've rightly put it, 2017 was very difficult for majority of insurance companies. Mm-hmm. And I want really to say especially medical insurance companies in Kenya today, because we saw what you can call rising costs in terms of healthcare. Mm-hmm. And this had a significant depression of results. Of course, even AAR posting quite depressed results for 2017. Mm-hmm. And when you have a difficult operating environment and high costs, then you find also that provisions for claims, provisions for expenses have to go up. And this obviously have a depressing effect on results. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the whole industry, and of course I think the results are beginning to stream in, you really will find that even for other obvious environmental reasons in 2017, where of course the country was held hostage by politics.
Sure, the election cycle.
The election cycle, which went on for too long, you know, too many elections in 1 year.
Yes.
Therefore, for any business, that environment will not be as vibrant and positive as it should be.
All right. Yeah. But, Caro, the irony is that some quarters think medical insurance performed very well compared to other sectors of insurance, that being motor vehicle, life insurance. Just break it down for us. Why is it that it's such a paradox to see medical insurance not performing well, yet we've been seeing many people getting treatment, many young people getting into the service of various companies?
Okay, I think the paradox has to do with the fact that medical insurance has two big components. And the first one is providers, healthcare providers. And those are the people who give services of medical services in terms of drugs, in terms of, you know, all those other things that happen in the provider's place. So the providers will definitely be having higher revenues from the fact that more people will go there.
Yes.
You know, from the fact that more people will require investigation, from the fact that more people are taking drugs. So from that perspective, you find that the revenues of healthcare providers, hospitals and doctors and all the other providers, you find that their revenues will go up. But the flip side of it is that the insurance companies and even public health financing is the one that is meeting the bills of the rising costs of medical costs from the providers. So you'll find that they are two sides of the same coin, very much interrelated, and yet you find that they have what you can call conflicting revenue objectives, so to speak.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense, Caroline.
Yeah.
Just walk us through what's your game plan now as AAR. We're into a new year. Yeah. What can you see in the horizon as you sit in the cockpit, being the captain of the company?
Okay, as the captain of the company, it is very important to contain and manage the costs of medicine and the costs of doctors' charges and the costs of investigations. That cost must really be looked at critically if insurance is going to succeed and if insurance is going to serve the Kenyans in the way that it's supposed to serve. So much as the AR Insurance Kenya is coming up with products that can help in reduction of costs of care, still a lot needs to be done on a wider basis. Because the real challenge here is that when you have a cost of a product being almost as high as the price of the product, then from a business perspective, there is a problem. And even from the customer perspective, there is a problem.
All right.
Yes.
So what are you going to do different this year as a company, and what areas do you see growth coming from?
Okay, growth will come from the retail perspective. Also, growth will come from the small and medium companies, because definitely those are the most vibrant sectors of the economy,
yes.
Whichever way you look at it. So obviously, we expect a lot of growth from there. But I want to add quickly that that is what we call top-line growth or revenue growth. There is still the challenge that, that the growth of expenses will be as high as the growth of revenues, and therefore reversing any gains you may have in terms of revenues.
All right.
So either way, AAR Insurance Kenya is one of the companies that will be at the forefront, really requesting that all the stakeholders in the medical insurance field come together and come up with a roadmap that can make medical insurance sustainable. I am happy that the government is very involved now with the universal healthcare,
yes.
with the Big Four by the president. That's a very good and positive interest.
Is it achievable?
It is achievable, but all stakeholders need to be on board. That model will only work if hospitals come on board, and the hospitals are regulated in such a way that the costs are similar across providers, that the facilities are accessible to Kenyans, because you can have a product and the facilities are not ready. The hospitals are not ready.
Yes.
So you can have your medical card and you go to a facility and there's no X-ray, there's no medicine, there's no doctor.
It's very frustrating.
Really, it doesn't really meet the objective of why you have a medical card of whatever form. So we want to say as the AAR that this year also will be at the forefront in advocating that the cost of providing healthcare be looked at, much as we want to have universal healthcare. Let us look at the cost of providing healthcare to the common man and bring some kind of harmonization, standardization of costs, such that if you take a Panadol at Nairobi Hospital, and you take a Panadol at Nairobi Women's Hospital, and you take a Panadol at Mata Hospital, the cost of Panadol should be the same. So, and this is what we are really requesting all stakeholders to come on board to ensure that we manage the costs of providing healthcare, and also the cost of doctors.
All right.
If you are going for a surgery, for a minor surgery, even if it is what you can call cesarean surgery, the cost should be more or less the
uniform.
same or uniform
All
across
right.
providers,
because
the service is similar.
All right.
Yes.
Well, let's definitely hope to see some reforms along this line, and we do appreciate your coming, and we definitely will be keeping a lot of focus on the insurance sector. We appreciate your contribution into this matter.
Thank you, Abby.
Well, that is Caroline Munene, the Chief Executive Officer for AAR, talking to us about the sector. She's quite optimistic that if reforms happen, then this would mean better tidings for Kenya's desire to attain universal health care. Well, that is just a snippet of this conversation. We'll be definitely expanding it in the coming days. Well, for now,